12 years of experience in .NET. I was working with the .NET Core and microservices. Coming to the Azure level of experience, I have good exposure on app services, function app, and container registry, container instance, Azure Kubernetes service. It's a kind of Azure storage account, creating the VNet and subnet, and function app configuration on the VNet connections, and using the Kudu tools. And I was have the exposure on analytics by using the application insights. Uh, Using the Azure CI/CD process, creation of
Can you elaborate your experience into the microservices and containerization, AKS, and all those things?
yeah, yeah, yeah. We have a concept of mm, mm, multiple services. Each services has a Linux, and these services was hosted in AKS using the CI/CD process. And we have the Docker desktop to check whether the Docker file is generating correctly or not for each service. And we have a kind of a services.yaml, deployment.yaml, and ingress.yaml. These are all the things which will comes into the picture while we are trying to perform in the CI/CD process. Well, the time of deploying to the any of prod or non-prod environments. The deployment.yaml is the key which is creating the pods, and inside of the pod which we exactly the one container. We are using as Azure Elastic as is a tool which is trying to find out the health of the particular pod, and pushing the information to Elastic and Kibana. We do have a concept of replica sets. It will automatically you create the replicas if one thing is goes down of a particular service. Using as a service bus asynchronous mechanism is queues and topics, and sending the messages to the topics, and the subscriber will receive these messages. These are all the things which has been working in terms of microservices in my project. Yeah, my project is a catering management system, which was developed in MVC, and we migrated to MVC.NET Core 5.0, and Angular, the latest version, which is having the food management taken care by our product. We have the clients of international customers, Lufthansa, Air India, Air Canada. It's not only it is one of the big project in US, Atlanta, Los Angeles, and all the things all over the international airports they are using to prepare the food. We will get information of a particular flight, aircraft version and information, and passengers information and food items. Our application has to prepare the food and providing the invoices, as well as we have the vendors are also there. Vendors will provide the food. Is a kind of raw materials in the bill of materials. We will take as a bill of materials. Our team will prepare the food and packing it, and moving to the airport, and providing into the inside of a galley, and from the galley the host will supply into the respective team, respective passenger.
Okay. So why you decided and how you motivated means like what were the architectural decisions to how you to go for the microservices and how you plan for the deployment? What were the steps in the deployment? And I'll be grateful if you can showcase by sharing the experience, like how you plan and how you plan the deployment. Right.
Okay, let me share my screen. Is that okay?
Yeah, as of now it is not, but okay. Share it. As of now it is not visible.
Yeah, I want to give a high level clarity what we are going to, what we have exactly done. Yeah, this is a concept. So this is an identity service. This is an dispatch service. This is a material management service. For service in the sense it is a kind of one kind of solution, and the solution which is having the Docker file, and each solution which is having the Docker file, and this Docker file, and we have that sorry, we have the YAML pipeline. In the YAML pipeline we have the jobs, and each job is having the different the jobs for the prod environment, job 2 for UAT environment, job 3 for pre-prod environment. Inside of the job we have the concept of steps, and there itself we can have the Docker task. The Docker task will take as an input of Docker file and push it to the container registry. And after that we'll have a concept of mapping deploy stage. We can use that we can use the manifest file of deployment.yml or service.yml to make has to be connected with the Docker image to AKA service. This is the one of the service. This is the one microservice MC1. This is the um, dispatch microservice MC2. Like that, the same way. The only the difference is the Docker file is different, functionality is different, and if you want to have a communication, we can use that service bus to communicate MC1 to MC2 or MC3 microservice 3, like that. And this AML pipeline will be triggered, all the non-prods will be triggered. Dev environment is in automation as a trigger, but QA UAT environment we have a concept of approval. Approval will approve the request, then only it will move to specific environment. This is a dev, this is a QA, and here we have approver. Approver will approve it based on the based on the test result. I can approve it, and it will move to the specific environment. This is what the high level of the deployment is happening in our organization.
Yes, in CI/CD pipeline, so
Mhm.
what are the services you use?
We are using Azure CI/CD, Azure Azure pipelines,
Which pipeline do you use?
YAML pipeline.
YAML, YAML is like the script you write.
Hmm.
Are you aware about
Classic editor.
and and the template also,
Yeah,
ARM template.
yeah, ARM template, correct. In the resources IAC, right? You are talking about infrastructure as a service. We are, yeah, I have the exposure on ARM template as well.
And any experience in AWS?
I have basic experience, but I don't have the much experience on AWS, creating the VNet, subnet, and creating the VMs, and configuring as application gateways, and S3 bucket, and using the Lambda functions.
So, what about Terraform?
Terraform, I have theoretical knowledge. I did not get a chance to work on the Terraform, but if the chance will come, I can able to learn quickly to implementation. Theoretically, I know that what is the init and uh, deploy, like validation in it, and it has to store that all the states into the storage account, and it want to create a, it is a multi-cloud, right? We can able to deploy the same infrastructure as Azure, AWS, GCS based on the provider. Theoretically, I know, and practically, I haven't get a chance to implement it.
Okay. And so what about your experience into the Lambda function written in this language, .NET or Python or
.NET only.
.NET only?
Yeah.
Okay. And then where you deploy the Lambda functions, means in AWS, how did you deploy them?
The deployment, I have done only the sample things only, but complex things I haven't done. We have the CACD also, we can able to achieve it, but I did not get a chance to go through that much of complexity.
And what's your experience in architecture design?
I was working with the architect 3 years, but I can able to do that one.
You were working, have you ever designed end-to-end any
Yes,
application?
yes, yes.
Can you explain me the application and what sort of the design you provided?
Okay. The application is a kind of reconciliation process in our application itself. The reconciliation process basically reconciliation of actuals and reconciliation of estimate. We have a we can have the different kind of rules are available. Based on the rules, the data might be vary. For example, it has to be follow the rule one first, and it has to follow the rule 2 second, rule 3 third, like that it has to follow. This is the problem statement. Yeah, what it is exactly happening, it was implemented as a Windows service, and Windows service was implemented like 4 or 5 years back. That is also it is taking as a performance implementation, and if the more one of the client will come, we need to create another Windows service to make it as up and running. Instead of one-to-one configuration, they made it, but if you want to make it as, this has to be multi-tenant. What we as a designer, as an architect, what I was suggested, can create as an app service, and this app service, we can run as a web job. Before web job has to be initiated, we need to get that information from the token and we get that particular respective information. Which tenant is a tenant is nothing but one company. Company one connection string is different. Company two connection string is different. Company three connection string is different. We have a concept of master database and transaction database. Master database will have the all the for example US related. All the master data is almost same. Transactional data might be different. That case, we have a concept of primary and it's a kind of master DB and transaction DB. The request will come as a JWT token, which is having the claim of client ID and other information to connect the client database, get that transaction connection string, and creating as an input to the job web job. Web job will taking care of all this rule validation and will try to compare it. Once the implementation done, we have a concept of putting the message into the uh, Azure queue, storage account queue, and the queue will be able to trigger the message to particular the company respective email distribution list. This is what earlier the problem statement is very slow, and if you want a new client will come, we have to be create a new Windows service, and it has to point to the new database. If you can able to implement as a window app service and Windows is a Linux image and connecting to that this image from the container registry, it is easily scalable. If the multiple users are trying to perform on the same time, and it will working as a background process because we have the limitation of the app service which is taking 230 seconds. Any one of the request it is not returning, the gateway will throw as a bad gateway exception or cause error, different kind of issue thrown by the gateway. Instead of doing as a request and response, fire can fire here and get the information and processing it, and here he can notify to the user to is a kind of moving on-prem services to cloud as well as part of that initiative.
It is like a one particular component you have valued. Have you ever got a chance to transform or means design the big applications, enterprise applications?
Oh no.
In fact, only to work with the one component. It's not a application, complete application. So here, like you might have designed the roadmap that different phases where the development will take place. You might have gone through the regressive planning, all those things.
No, I did not. As a frankly saying, I did not get a chance to work on that one. Working with an architect to get all the information and suggestions and to make us a better.
Yes, please.
Sorry.
So, okay. Okay, that's fine. Uh, okay. What about your experience with NoSQL databases?
Cosmos, MongoDB, I have experience. Cosmos DB, I have a basic exposure.
What is the like in MongoDB? How do you define the indexing and the consent?
Indexes we can able to achieve based on the document ID. document ID, it will create as an index as a primary key compared to the SQL database like that.
Okay. Any experience in Postgres?
No, no, I don't have experience Postgres.
What about your experience in .NET Core?
3 years
Yes, useful then.
of 5.0.
And former .NET?
.NET is 7 years.
And what about your experience in designing patterns?
Design patterns experience in 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah, design patterns is a regular one, especially only the design patterns. I can say 1 year. Like if you say the repository, it is a ongoing process of MVC as well as .NET Core. Dependency injection, it is a default one. These are the things. If you are pointing to the especially of those things, we can say, but all the things as a part of regular developer life.
And solid principle?
Yeah, solid principles. This is also is a part of our implementation itself. I can say like 3 years.
You can just elaborate with some 1 year use cases about solid principle.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, is a stands for a single responsibility. We have a concept of a single responsibility stating that the each modular functionality should be treated as a single it should be responsible for the single functionality. It should not responsible for multiple operation in terms of if you take as a purchase order, it has to take the purchase order, validate the stock, and send an email notification. These are the three different functionality. We need to split up the each one as a separate functionality is called as single responsibility. And for open closed principle, I have one of the class is the definition is open for extension, closed for modification. I have the one of the class which was already working fine, which was used by the clients since 3 years. If there is a new requirement for one more client came that I want to have a notifying mechanism. In that case, I don't want to change an existing class of thing. I can give a possibility of extension by the other client. If they want to use it, they can use that existing functionality. If they want, they can override it. In this case, I want to give a provision to close that modification open for extension through achieve by using the abstract class. And another thing is open this I for interface segregation. I have the main interface and I have the sub interfaces are there. I have the 10 methods. I will put it all the 10 methods into a single interface. I will ask them to all the clients. We have to be implement all the implementation for the interface, even though they are not using it. In this case, it will be very burden for them. In this case, why can't you make this as a segregation of interface into smaller interface, and we can use the small interface based on the client 1, client 2, client 3 like that. We can also achieve in terms of repository pattern. Also, we can able to use these interfaces and implementation. And Liskov substitutional principle, the definition state that all the subtypes must be substitutable of the base type. In this case, for example, I can have the employee. Employee is an employee of an interface, permanent employee, contract employee, and outsourcing employee like that. Three employees is the subtypes. the what it is stating that all the subtypes must be substitutable of the base type of interface of employee. Then we can able to achieve it. Instead of creating multiple objects, we can create an interface obj equal to permanent employee, same interface equal to contract employee, same interface equal to, it's a kind of factory pattern we can able to achieve it. And another thing is dependency, defer dependency in version control. We can able to instead of making as a creation of an object as a user or developer, we can use the some DLLs to make use of creation of an object, maintaining of an object, destroying of an object, instead of creating the objects by the end user or developer.
And what your experience into the frameworks,
Which
the JavaScript framework like say Angular and
Angular, I have 1 year of experience.
one other experience?
Yeah, jQuery and jQuery 3 years. Knockout is 6 months.
And which domain you work dominantly?
I have
Which domain you work?
okay. It's in catering domain, healthcare domain. I have working on catering, healthcare as well as financial domain.
Yeah. Mm. So, can you give me any use case where you have used the Azure functions?
Yeah. The use case of Azure function, we have a concept of job processing. The application will which will push the message to the queue. Queue will take this as an input. If there is a some kind of event driven programming, in those cases, in all those possible cases, we can go ahead the Azure functions. For example, I want to initiate the job. As an application, I can put that message into the service bus. Whenever any one of the new messages will come, the Azure service bus function trigger will be triggered. It will get the data and it will process it as Azure function, and it will push that respective format to the respective the financial institutions or respective clients.
I'm done from my end. Do you have some question for me?
I just want to understand what are the exactly the requirements which you are looking. Is that the project is a migration project, or the project is already started, or what is exactly things as an expect from the candidate point of view.
We are the COE, cloud COE. So where we have a number of the projects and we'll be helping and supporting the different projects also.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the scenario. So it is not a one project, it's a number of the projects are there and we will be helping and supporting.
Okay.
And we'll be also doing R&D and we are supporting all the cloud, not only the Azure, but we are also working in AWS Google Cloud, hybrid, and so such a things we are working. So it's a COE. So the number of the R&D opportunities are there
Okay.
to learn and some of the escalators and IPs. So that's what that. So so have you resigned or you will be resigning?
No, no. Yeah, I will be releasing in next week 15, next month 15.
So you have some other offers and
No, it is in pipeline, but not yet confirmed.
what's your target? Are you targeting lead developer or architect or still I feel like as an architect you need some uh, you have although some experience but not enough for those enterprise applications.
Yeah,
So
anything
what
is
is
fine. I want to have a some stability organization to because nowadays the recession and everything is coming, right. I want to have some kind of stability organization to stay more years and give my contribution to the company growth as well.
so would be okay as a lead
Yeah,
developer?
yeah, it is okay.
Thank you. So I'm passing my feedback.
Sure, Sharma. Thanks for your time. Bye. Thank you.